Hello and welcome back to my RP-1 programs dev stream. So I'm poor right now. It's going to be a little while before I get more cash because I tweaked some numbers. Oh, actually, hopefully I presume it took effect, but let me check. Oh, all right. I guess I have to fix this. Yeah, okay. Reload. Okay, and let me tweak this. Oh, it's doing the usual weird thing. Okay, yeah, now we're making much less. And apparently oh, lol. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, that's an interesting bug. Um, yeah, there's no... Okay. All right. I'm just going to quick relaunch. Okay. Because I would like to not have negative cash. Thank you very much. Like, I'm fine with there being no income for a bit, but negative funding is bad. What do you mean the random building new launch center? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. What was? Okay, that is more what I expect from my balance. So I have to be pretty careful about my funding for a bit. Anyway, let's fly to airplane. Okay. There we go. Now we get to hang out up here for a bit. Start a dive. Okay, and let's go for a pretty high climb. Okay, we're not going anywhere near as high as last time, which is good. We're still going quite high, but not 175 kilometers high. Okay, so we'll get some crew report. Okay, now learning from last time, I'll do this entirely on atmospheric autopilot, not MechJeb. Got an altitude record. I assume we want to end up somewhere over there. All right, I'm maintaining maximum angle of attack. That was pretty gentle. I mean, 11 Gs, but still. Oh dear. Blackout. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Yeah, we're way off azimuth, though. All right, now we're lined up. Well, we can come left a little more first. And we drop below 40. Or about to. Okay, looks like we're doing fine on energy. I was a little worried, but now it's fine. Okay, pretty much lined up. We'll come right a little bit. I'm actually going to come in steeper. Such that I can do that and unload it. Okay, now we can do full brakes.
Hey, sorry about the ping.
Hello? All good? Yeah, so for the weights, the wrinkle is not so much the masses. The wrinkle is not so much the masses you'd want to set up for the contracts, but how we enforce that it's actually payload. And I guess it's because we do it through sounding payload. Although that then means that you can't use the Sputnik core unless we change it to be something with most of the weight is a fixed amount of sounding payload or something like that.
Yeah. So we could also use one of the other payload types. Why you're worried about using the Sputnik core?
Because it's weird if you can't complete first satellite with the Sputnik core alone.
Well, we could ask you to do first satellite with the Sputnik core alone, and then just enforce it on second.
That's true. That's true. Like, that doesn't give you that much to do it early.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with programs, it's how soon can you get to the capstone, not how soon can I get all the next contract done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would straight up require 1.3 tons for scientific satellite. I mean, a little less than that to account for the tankage, obviously, but.
And also for the rest of the spacecraft?
I mean, assuming you're using a science core for it, the rest of the spacecraft is trivial.
All right, I guess I got to look at what Sputnik 3 actually was.
Sputnik 3 was a giant science satellite that was uncontrollable, but it just had like a ton of experiment, like a literal metric ton of experiments.
All right. Well, I'm fine with setting it to 1,000 kilograms then.
Okay.
And then the rest will be tankage and science core, comms, whatever. I mean, maybe you will be able to do it with a 1,200 kilogram satellite, but I'm fine with that. Not to just, I think we shouldn't be too touchy about being exactly like U.S. or Russian spacecraft. Or we could let somebody else make their. You have to specifically do what the Soviets did, set of programs.
Yeah, somebody can do that, but it ain't us.
Yeah.
All right, so that recovery is about right for what I'd expect. Also, global efficiency is increasing too fast, I think. I'm already at 80.6 global efficiency. And it's 1957.
Yes.
That feels like that's going up too fast.
So did you make your change to do your proposal?
Oh, goodness, no. No, I merely proposed it. Like,
Okay.
I'm not satisfied with it, but I'm also not satisfied with what we have, so.
Sure. I actually didn't. Did you give me a reply on what specifically you wanted to address with the change?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I'll go.
But
I can. I jumped into this dev channel and started talking to you soon after.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like broadly, there's a bunch of weirdnesses about the current efficiency system. First of all, it's just a feel bad that the best you can do is 100% efficiency. Like, that just feels bad. So anything you're doing, like literally any action you take makes the situation feel worse, rather than any action you take being neutral, and not taking actions makes the situation better. And I realize that that's literally only displaying the numbers, but it has an effect.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it has an effect.
I will point out that I originally had it the other way around, and you convinced me to top out at 100%.
Yes. Have people been mentioning that one? I mean, like.
Yes. Yeah, quite a bit, actually. There was a big discussion this morning, I think.
Okay, well. Something to look at, I guess. I mean, I remember when I proposed it, there was going to be like 3 buckets of like.
Yeah, but that's a UI nightmare. It's like, because you got to choose which bucket to pull from to assign to anywhere. Like, I really don't want to have to deal with all that headache.
Sure.
Like, I mean, if you can think of a way where you don't have to display all 3 buckets at once and let you choose from each bucket, then I'm happy to do that, because that works way better. But I can't think of a way to do that without reducing everything to one number.
Without reducing everything.
Basically, so if you just have to put 3 buttons on everything. If you have 3 buckets.
Yep.
And that, like, it's already fiddly.
Yeah, that's fine. I take that. That's negative. Okay, so I'll go read what you.
Yeah, but I can just
feel bad to lose
voice
efficiency
TLDR.
New people.
Yeah, there's also that when you start a new launch, so like in it is also like you do get into a weird situation, and this in some ways this is due to the existence of X planes, but the fact that you generally for you only have the hangar staffed for maybe a quarter or less of the time while that program is active, which means your hangar is effectively at 50% efficiency, just no matter what you do. And also, you lose efficiency when you pull them away from the LC and add them back.
There's this amazing thing I recommended to LPG that you could also do, which is to not fully staff the hangar and just build slower.
I mean, I also was not fully staffing the hangar.
Yeah, but I mean,
but
so
but it's still the case that it is still the fact that like you cannot avoid the fact that you will be able to complete one chunk of the X-plane contracts, and then you will have to wait for a while before you can build the next plane. Like that's just inescapable. Like I mean, I guess it's sort of escapable where you can just like not do anything until you unlock the X-15, but that just is.
I mean, you could just build the plane slower. Like that's what.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like let's say so. So you're suggesting that you build the X2 so slowly that it takes 5 years to build?
Well, if you added less engineers, you would also recover slower and stuff like that. So
yeah, but it's still like
not necessarily it takes 5 years to build it, but
yeah, but so where we're left is, just to be super clear, is either you have to pull engineers out of the hangar. I mean, or you could just leave them there and they just cost idle and whatever. But either you pull engineers out of the hangar, or what you're suggesting is you have so few engineers in the hangar that it takes you 6 years of game time until you have your first plane built, starting from
not
pretty
6 years. Not necessarily 6 plane time. You could build an X1 and then an X2 and et cetera, and a supersonic jet. That's 3 different planes that you could potentially build with that period of time.
Why would you build an
I'm not
X2
saying
though?
Most people would do that. I'm saying but also historically, like what happened? Like the people didn't just move on to the X-15 program and then work on the X-15 program. They must have gotten essentially fired or move on to other projects that we don't simulate. So historically, they did fire the engineers, right?
I mean, historically, Bell had the contract to build the X1, and then they built the X2, and then later North American got a contract to build the X-15.
Right. So, okay, I mean, like, I don't have a...
It's not it's not that Bell took a long time to...
Yeah. So, effectively, they did lose the efficiency. Like, you did hire a bunch of engineers, lose those engineers, and then have to hire a bunch of new engineers.
But again, the part of why we're in this trap is because we're trying to have NASA engineers doing integration, but then also building things, and that's part of why we're in this mess. Is like there weren't random engineers at Edwards building the X-15. Like North American was building it in a factory.
Right.
And building 3 of them, but that's another.
But if
wrinkle.
we wanted to simulate that better, like the better way to simulate that would be to force you to build multiple hangars.
I mean, I think the better way to simulate that is to get out of the business of having your engineering efficiency have any relation to manufacturing.
Okay, so currently your engineering efficiency is, at least toward the end of your space program, or even the middle, is supposed to represent your efficiency with integration, right?
Yeah.
Like we are trying to cover multiple stones, with sometimes it's accounting for more manufacturing.
Yeah, it's just we're particularly the places where we get hit by that particularly hard are the start of the campaign in terms of rockets and any planes ever.
Right. So
because the ratio of construction to integration is so out of whack for planes compared to rockets.
yes. Um, so the thing that I'm kind of talking about now was, should you actually, if we're trying to be more historical, we shouldn't be too worried about the fact that you had to pull engineers out of the hangar, because even though it's not specifically how it did happen, because they farmed this out to contractors, effectively those contractors were building entirely new planes and should not have been, like, more efficient for having built the X2 versus building the X-15. But I get that it feels bad that you'd lost efficiency by pulling out the engineers. Your system doesn't really address that, because you would have pulled out the engineers and then lost efficiency while the X-15, until you started doing the X-15 anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
there's
there's also a
to think
band-aid
about
fix,
this.
which is just remove LC efficiency from the hangar, because it's not really meaningful, because it's a proxy for, and that the other desiderata, which is efficiency in an LC, is supposed to be a proxy for launching the same rocket over and over and over again, which is meaningless for a build anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like,
Yeah.
removing efficiency from the hangar seems like a reasonable solution.
Yeah.
The other option being to just do the LC thing for hangars, and then force you to somehow
Yeah.
make a new one for the X-15 versus the X-1.
Yeah.
But even that's going to be tricky under our current system, because you could build a similar size X-1 versus a supersonic plane and use the same LC for that, or hangar for that. So
Yeah,
and
that
removing the
one's kind of
efficiency
weird.
from the LC. So let's go back to talking about the rocket thing. So part of it is you want to make it not feel bad, so that you lose efficiency when you add workers. Kind of get that. Your system does address that, because there doesn't seem to be, other than the loophole of like being able to hunt engineers around, it does address the fact that, yeah, you don't lose efficiency, but you don't get inefficiency as fast when you're understaffed. It's reasonable.
Yeah, I don't like the change in terms of then just moving engineers around for free. But so back to putting hangar aside, because hangar is just super weird. I
Yeah.
think there's the two sides of the same coin of I'm punished for moving engineers around or adding new engineers. And I
We do
think,
want you to be a little punished for not just moving being able to. We don't want you to be able to move your engineers around freely, because A, that doesn't feel right to just be able to throw them wherever they need to on the drop of a hat, and B, it encourages a negative gameplay thing of just like,
yep, I've
not
just,
having.
yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
so
on
it's,
I agree on
yeah,
that. The question is whether that's equivalent to staffing up, and it may not be. It may be that, for example, what costs you efficiency is removing engineers from an LC rather than adding them. Like that's the thing. That's the thing we could do.
yeah. I don't know if the peanut gallery would find that okay either.
I mean, I think
It's another feels bad moment. It's just a different one.
uh, it is a different one, but I think it crucially, we're actually attacking the thing that we don't want you to do, rather than attacking something like program. The the part of what went into this was it was unclear to me starting out LC and then was working on programs whether we'd have to use that as an anti-snowballing mechanic, where literally the more people you add to your program, the lower your efficiency gets, which like slows your roll, basically. It's not clear to me that we need that mechanic. And it may be that the only mechanic we need is to stop the ping-ponging.
No, the reason we had efficiency, to me, was to stop ping-ponging and also to account for the fact that we wanted early rockets to be
Oh,
built slow.
but that has nothing to do with hiring or firing. That's everything to do with you start at 25% efficiency and it climbs slowly.
Right. Right. So, but I mean, like, so the hiring and firing is a separate issue from
Yeah.
just having an efficiency period.
Yep. Yeah, I absolutely don't want to get rid of that one.
Sure.
Like I do think it's important to start low and gradually ramp up.
Yeah. I
So
don't specifically like the remove engineers lowers your efficiency. I don't know what, like mental model that fits under for why you'd lose efficiency for removing engineers, other than maybe like, I don't know.
morale hit.
Yeah, morale hit maybe. But I think there are other, like the other ways to get to that specific thing, like the one I suggested. I don't think of some others. But if that's all that needs to be done to make your system work, then I don't mind your system at all. Like, just add some way to make it an anti-ping pong mechanic. Blah blah. Sorry, anti-ping pong mechanic, and then we're good. I don't know if there's another one out, like another better system out there, though. It seems like we considered many options.
I don't think we've actually really considered that many options. Like we had the existing efficiency model, we have the bucket model, which we're discarding because of the micromanage headache. I mean, also the UI problem, but it's more that's a symptom of the micromanaging. And then this thing that I just came up with on a lark today. Like I'm sure there's more ways of handling it than just that. So, like if you have a brainwave on that, I'm happy to think about that one.
Sure.
But yeah, so let's talk through the broad outlines of that, which is LC efficiency. I think ticks up if you have. I mean, yeah, the exact size of it is hard to describe. Like one chunk of it is, and Vale is right that it's separable from the rest of the idea, is that instead of efficiency in a particular LC, it's efficiency for that signature. And I think that's probably worth doing anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. The only thing I noted there was like your rush mechanic would kind of break.
Yeah. Yeah, the rush mechanic would break under the system. But I'm not happy with the rush mechanic either, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's really not clear to me what the rush mechanic should be.
Yeah, ditto. For now, I'm not worried about it. I don't think. I mean, especially with your ability to just build multiple LCs if you want it, doesn't seem to be that much of a great use case for a rush mechanic, other than that we just had one before.
Yeah, like I do think there's room for it in the sense of I just realized I'm. So let me back up. I think now the only real reason for rushing is there's a transfer window coming up and I need to meet it because we no longer have contract deadlines.
Sure.
Oh, do I want to spend that money? I'm not sure. How much money do I have? I have enough to spend that money. And I definitely want data on this engine. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Also, that was super weird. I thought it was 18K. Why was it only 12K? And why did it claim the part was locked rather than the engine config? That was weird, 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 weird. But, well, that's fine.
So another possible system, I'm not really, I haven't really fully thought this one through, but so another possible system that kind of looks like the worker buckets system, except with potentially less finickiness, or at least more interesting finickiness, is if you had engineering teams. Like, here's a team, you assign it to an LC. The team has a certain number of people, potentially a leader, something like that. The team gets more experience somehow, and then we translate that into an efficiency on that project. It doesn't address your, like, I really want this to be about LV efficiency versus personal efficiency, though. But it would be a way to do kind of like the worker bucket thing, except you're assigning, I'm just saying I'm going to assign Werner's big chunk of staff to this LC, and then he has to figure out, like, I don't know, internally hiring and firing his own engineers to
Yeah.
that LC.
Yeah, I think my instinct is I want to stick to only having program-wide leaders because we have the setup for them. But yeah, that is a way to handle it. Also, I forgot that I could have checked the budget tab even in the VAB, and that would have told me that I was being dumb, and that I quite desperately need some more money.
We could do an efficiency system that assigns, like, experience points to parts that you've built, and then gauge how easy it is for you to build a new LV, like the efficiency of building a new LV based off of your usage of same parts.
Yeah. No, like I think the question is, do we want to have an efficiency metric for an LC that is based on your engineers rather than on the LV?
Yeah, I mean, that's this one would be LV based, except because we don't have,
Yeah,
specific
we don't have stage
LV
detection yet, so.
stage detection. It would, I mean, if
Yep.
you'd get something out of using the same LR89 on something that has, like 5 of them instead of 1 of them. But
Yep. Yeah, but it's something.
Something, yeah.
So, man, yeah, I just screwed myself a little bit.
Sorry, I haven't actually been watching what you're playing, and it's interesting that you managed to this discussion while still playing.
Yeah, it's mostly just because I'm so close to minimal subsidy that. Yeah. So the issue is I just bought that config unlock for 12K. Took me down from 24 to 12. Over the next month, my balance is minus 18K.
Oh.
The reason that's true is because I made that change to crude orbit. So I'm
Right.
not getting any funding from crewed orbit, basically, over the next month. It's just starting to pay off.
Oh, right. Because the way your system works, if you lower the number, it just like kind of doesn't stops paying you for a while. Gotcha. I mean, I guess you could just give yourself a loan for a while because effectively, I don't know,
Yeah, I guess that's what I'll do.
put it back. Because this is not a thing that would actually happen with somebody
Yes.
really planning.
So, sure. That's a good point. I can just give myself a loan. Oh, actually, I could just complete the program, too. So I might not have needed the loan anyway. Because I'm going to fly this contract, it'll let me complete X-planes. And then I'll take early lunar, and that will give me a budget increase.
Yes, you could. There you go. But I mean, like you're playing this for partially playtesting.
Yes.
It's not like
Yes.
expecting you to like.
Yep. As it happens.
Anybody watching the stream, Nathan is not really cheating for playtesting.
Well, it's more that there's going to be a really weird spike in the spyware data.
Sure. But I mean, the spyware data, like you're playing this full time, and you're also helping design it. Your spyware data is not, like mission critical because
This is
you
true.
have all your impressions. It's other people's spyware data that is more valid, and even that is questionable given how many speedrunners we've thrown at it and not normal players.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they're giving us a lot of useful feedback on what feels okay, and like various bugs that we've encountered anyway. So it's not like playtesting has no value, but the specific tuning, like we're already ballparked mostly good. So I think more specific tuning is just going to come from refinements, especially since we're changing systems under the hood. Once we change that back to the zero-based subsidy with some rep decay, that's also going to invalidate a lot of previous results.
Yeah. And you're putting the optional downranges for early satellites rather than, yeah. So you take it and you have something to do that isn't immediately go to orbit. I like that.
Yes, that's what we discussed.
Yep.
I mean, I suppose I could technically put it in both, but I don't know that anybody would actually hang out in the
Yep.
rocket development to do the option. Yeah, that would be silly. Where we're at with RP-2, like we're still pre-alpha effectively, because we're changing a few systems under the hood. So
yep.
Finding tuning is important, but not critical.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't put the leaders in yet, and haven't done stage detection and manufacturing.
But we're not planning to do that before we release to the public, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that would be a bit ambitious.
Great.
mean, the leaders thing I would like to at least have a first stab at because it gives us a reward for contracts, like we were talking about before.
Yes. Plus all this other currency.
Yep.
But so I have been poking at the leaders, partially in my own head, partially I've got a spreadsheet that I don't really want to show you, but it feels dull to me. A lot of it just feels like here's a thing that goes up by a percentage, the thing that goes down by a percentage, and that is really all the Hearts of Iron stuff does as well, but it just feels dull. There's a lot of levers to pull, but
yeah.
Hearts of Iron, it feels more okay because they can put a historical picture of a dude there. I don't even know if we've got enough historical people.
Oh, we do. We do.
Sorry, I didn't finish the sentence.
Oh.
We could identify with traits that we could leverage against this.
True.
Like, yeah, we could pull up, a million NASA administrators. I have no idea what trait they should have. I don't know that. I mean, I'm sure there's some famous ones, but the number of famous ones that can famously be attributed with being better at something or worse at something is much shorter. And
yeah, that's fair.
Which doesn't mean we couldn't just pick historical people and then assign them random traits that we just pick for most of them, and few of them get specific traits. But
Okay. This ascent was actually not as good as the other one, probably.
I feel like to do this right, we want somebody who's really invested in all of these character biographies.
Yes. Okay. That was a success.
Well, if it comes down to it, we could always add loot crates. You can unlock the full 4-star version of the RD-108. Ooh, better yet, we could make anthropomorphize our rockets, turn them into Japanese girls.
Yes.
I mean, that feels like a winning mobile game right there. We should do it right away.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I probably would try that game out just for fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking like another version of Simple Rockets where they're. Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
No, I would do another version of Mars Horizons, and then you'd have like 3 dwarves in a coat system where the girls had to stand on each other's shoulders.
All right. Let's re-enter. We're still east of where we should be.
CMAV, if you watch this stream, you don't have to take any notes. We're not going to do any of this for RP-2.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What you doing? What you doing?
A being goofy again.
There we go. Yeah, atmospheric autopilot was not limiting my alpha. I guess there was too little air pressure for it to really turn on. So I had like an alpha of 80 degrees, which, as you might imagine, is bad news.
And the thing is, it didn't even look like it was trying, though.
Yeah, because the air pressure was too low for it to engage.
Oh.
I guess. Why is it not engaging now? That's super weird. All right, I guess I need to... I guess I need to switch back to this config. What is... Why are we stuck? Standard fly-by-wire. MechJeb is off. Why can't I pitch up? There we go. Ish.
Doesn't seem like it got fixed.
Yeah, that was really weird. That was really weird.
Now your pilot's blacked out, so...
Yep. Yeah, that was exceptionally weird.
But you've had that similar thing happen a few times now.
Yeah, where it just limits me to next to nothing. No idea why. Maybe we're somehow hitting the side slip limits? Seems unlikely.
That seems incredibly unlikely.
Okay, so we'll get more high altitude science. Come left a little bit.
It would be nice if the AA told you, like, I don't know, turn the text red for the thing that is limiting you.
Yeah, that'd be super nice.
At least knew what it thought it was doing.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we gotta come left even more. Okay, there it is up there. Once again, I feel like I don't have enough energy now, but in practice, I'm sure I will have enough energy. I say that. That's bagging it. Don't want to bag it.
How far away are you?
Hard to say. Because I'm not lined up with it directly. Like if I'd been flying in a straight line, I would know that I'm 170 kilometers away. But I haven't been because I drifted off to the west.
Yeah, you didn't drift by much, though.
No, like look at the line of that. It was taking me down to here, and it should have been over that way.
Yeah, but cosine losses-wise, you didn't drift that far. And cosine losses-wise, you're not that far off, so you're probably 200 kilometers away, which you've got plenty of downrange for that.
Yeah. Yeah, only need like a little over 6-1, and I'm sure we're doing fine. This thing glides way better than the other plane.
Yeah, you're not a space shuttle. You're fine.
Yes, this thing is much closer to a real plane. Yeah, this thing weighs 3.56 tons dry. That's like lighter than. That's like probably about what a P-80 weighed dry.
Yes, so you're going to be 25 kilometers above KSC. You're fine.
Yeah, like I said, it always feels like I don't have enough, and I always have way more than enough.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, let's bleed speed. Whoops, we went a little far south. Okay, that's good alignment. Okay, gear down. So I want to come a little short of the runway, and then we'll flare. That was pretty good. It's probably the smoothest landing I've done with this plane. Very happy about that.
Yeah, nicely done.
Thank you. Recover.
Also looks like one of the ones that used the least amount of runway up too.
No, I used a fair amount. I've definitely used less runway than that, but okay. Retirement increase. And what's our monthly shortfall? All right, I guess I should.
Do you take the new program?
I'm looking at this. Yeah, 10 rep is just not a lot of rep. So
The X-Plane one is supposed to give 15. That's still not a lot, but it's supposed to give 15. Oh, sorry. What are you looking at?
X-plane suborbital.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't give a lot of rep for those because you don't really have to build anything new, so you're just shooting off the same craft.
Yep. Well, I'm probably going to keep flying this to get the science, but I'm going to switch programs for sure.
Did you change the science to new hires thing to be linear instead?
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. Take this. Now what's your budget look like? Okay, that is a very minor shortfall. Okay, that is a good stopping spot, so I'm going to do that. Thanks for coming by.
Glad to be here. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. And thank you, everybody who's watching. I will catch you next time. Bye.